You know what time it is. It's time to hang out with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Cooper, with Mr. Cooper, with Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop from Mr. Cooper, from Mr. Cooper, from Mr. Cooper. Hang with Mr. Coop, with Mr. Cooper, with Mr. Cooper, with Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop from Mr. Cooper, from Mr. Cooper. Yeah.
Welcome to the Big Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop. Season 12 still going strong, people. If you haven't, make sure you go to the website, thebigscoopwithcoop.com, to catch episodes from season 1 all the way up to now. Big shout outs to everybody that's watching on Facebook, facebook.com/thebigscoopwithcoop. Big shout outs to everybody that's watching on Instagram at Big Scoop with Coop. And I'm on TikTok, people. That's right. Catch me on TikTok at the Big Scoop with Coop. And don't forget YouTube. That's right. Go to youtube.com/the Big Scoop with Coop. Make sure you click like and subscribe so you don't miss one episode of the Big Scoop with Coop. All right, people. Enough about me. Today's guest. This man is doing big things in the industry, the television and movie industry. You have seen him on Workin Moms. You're about to see him on Juliet and Romeo. That's coming out in May in America and June in the UK. This movie right here is we doing big things. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to let him talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the one and only Dennis Andreas. Now, Dennis is going to talk about his career. He's talking about Juliet and Romeo. He's going to talk about how he stumbled into acting. And he's also going to talk about a project that he's working on. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy with the Big Scoop with Coop with my guest, Dennis Andreas. Welcome to the show.
How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Oh man, I'm good. How's your day so far?
Awesome. Exhausting. It's been a whirlwind. I've been a dad for like 30 minutes, so it's yeah. My kid is like a month old, just over a month old. She came early, so it's been sleepless nights. It's been a lot. I constantly feeding, constantly changing diapers. It's wild.
A 14
Dude, you look like you're 20. What do you mean you got a 20-year-old?
Hey, I'll take that. I am 45 years old. Dennis made me call it out. Nobody ever knew that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. What's your skincare routine?
What's my who?
Your skincare routine.
Oh, gosh. Just body wash and water and watch what you eat.
Live in North Carolina. Soak up the sun.
Yes.
Oh, man.
So,
holy.
Those sleepless nights that you're going through, I've been through them 3 times. That's what I have right now.
That's wild, man. Yes. Holy. Good for you, man. Good for you. Yeah, I'm on my first one. It's a trip.
Yeah.
I'm like we're like looking at, like, don't get me wrong, it's like it's wild because you're like instantly you're just obsessed with this tiny little human being, and you're like, how did that, like, first you're trying to, like, how did that happen? How did I become so obsessed so quickly with this tiny little, like, this infant? And then you're home. So, like, the first couple of weeks we were like living in the hospital. It was wild. It's a long story. I know we have a finite amount of time. I'm going to keep you here for like 3 hours. The first couple of weeks were absolutely crazy. We were basically living in the hospital, but she's good. Everything is good. Everybody's healthy. Everything is good to go now. And then you get home, and it's like the cluster feeding and like you can't settle them down and so on and so forth. And you're like, how do people do this again so quickly afterwards? You're kind of like, are these people out of their mind? Like, who's cast a spell on these people to be like, I want to do that again? I got a friend, his wife, 2 months in, she was like, let's go again. I was like, what? Yeah, it's that Latino blood. You know what I mean?
I would have been like, time out. Let's make it a halftime first. This is a basketball game.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm telling you, man, Dennis, congratulations, man. Definitely congratulations on this baby.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Congratulations on the sleepless nights. Congratulations on the future sleepless nights that you want to have also. But it's a good thing at the same time.
Yeah,
it definitely,
absolutely. It's wild. It changes you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Everybody keeps saying it does, but you're like, And then it happens, and you're like, I get it. Okay, it
Yep.
makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. Now, Dennis, man, a lot of people have seen you around. They've seen you grace their television screens, their phones, their tablets, however they watch Netflix. You have done so many great things already with your face being out there. But for the people that's getting introduced to you for the first time, when did you first realize that you want to become an actor?
Ooh, it was. I mean, like I want to say it was sort of by accident. I had. I kind of there was like little times in my life where little scenarios would pepper themselves in. Like so, I don't know how it works in your neck of the woods, but up here to graduate from high school, you have to accumulate a certain amount of volunteer hours in order to graduate, right? So I didn't know where I was going to start accumulating them. I had a neighbor across the street from me. He was a retired art teacher, and sweet guy. He goes, I know you have to collect some community service hours. And I go, yeah. And he's like, well, why don't you come and usher at the Theater Aquarius, which is a very well-known theater here up this side of the border. You can be an usher here. You can collect your community service hours, and and that way you can collect them in order to graduate. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. That sounds like a great idea. I didn't really, I was a football player at the time. I was like, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, man. You know what I mean? I needed a way to kind of accumulate these hours. So it was like me and I don't know, 10 or 12 retired people that were kind of ushering and like handing out brochures and stuff, right? But then you sit down and you watch Peter Pan, you watch Death of a Salesman, Limit, you got all these different shows that are kind of being presented to you, and you're kind of in awe watching this stuff, and like sold out theater seats and everything. I'm like sitting on the stairs, and then you get the intermission, and I'm collecting everything, making sure and then you sit back down again. You're just kind of enamored with the whole process, and yeah, I was like, all right, cool, cool way to, like, if you're gonna collect community service hours, this is kind of nifty. Um, on the way home after one of the shows, because he drove me back and forth. Um, being my neighbor on the way home, he was like, "So, what did you think of that?" And I just, I was being polite and stuff. I was like, "Oh wow, it was so cool. It was really amazing. I really enjoyed," which I did, but like, it was theater, and I was like, "This is." It's not my thing, but it's a cool thing, right? And I was like, yeah, it was awesome. It was, really enjoyed myself. So then my birthday rolled around, and as a gift, which he was the sweetest guy. As a gift, he got me like it was like a 9-week acting course, because I guess I was convincing enough in my, oh my God, yeah, this is great, that he was like, I know what he needs for his birthday. So I look at my mom and I'm like, yeah, there's no fucking way I'm doing this. And she's like, oh, you're doing it. You're going every Saturday. Every Saturday you're going to this thing. I was like, okay. So I went, and it was super strange at the beginning. It was like they had like these kind of really like weird, it's just stuff I'm not accustomed to. You know what I mean? I'm busy beating, guys up on the football field and stuff like that, getting beat up on the football field. And yeah, and so I'm sure, like, and these people are kind of like acting like animals and shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know what you guys want me to do with this. So I made it a point to kind of always show up late, so I missed the warm up, the weird warm ups. And but like I ended up like kind of really connecting with a lot of the people there, and they handed us a monologue kind of halfway through, and they're like, by the end of this needs to be memorized, and you perform it in front of your fellow classmates. And I was like, on. I'm like, this just gets worse and worse and worse. And I got this monologue completely out of context. I didn't know the play. It was a Canadian play, right? And I didn't know the play, and he's just like, listen, like, I don't want you to go and read the play. I just want you to take this, interpret it how you see fit, and then, do your thing. All right, so I spent the next few weeks kind of memorizing this monologue, and they would teach you, and they would have us do like all sorts of different things to kind of like learn the text and have it like really be in the psyche, which is wild because I still have it essentially memorized to this day. And this is like over 20 years ago. This is wild, yeah. And it was just sort of like a lot of the different methods that they kind of chose to use in order to teach us different things. And again, like I was like, it was done, and it was like so far. Like I'm like, no, I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'll worry about that next Saturday morning when I have to be late. And sorry. Yeah, so I memorized the script, and it was the last day, it was the final day, and we sat down and I performed this monologue, and I kind of got lost in performing it in front of my classmates. I don't know why or how, it just sort of happened, which is kind of what acting is. You sort of forget, you know what I mean? You forget what it is, like what you're doing, and you're just doing, right?
Yes.
So I sat down, I performed this, sort of fell into me actually experiencing this thing. And I looked up and there was a couple people weeping, and I was like, what just happened? Yeah. It was kind of surreal. And then it was sort of a sort of a rap party. Everybody was kind of, we had like finger foods and shit. And the teacher came up to me and he's like, "Hey man, just wanted to say thank you." And I was like, "Thank you for what?" And he was like, "Well, oftentimes you see guys like you making fun of guys like me on the football field, that sort of thing." And I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, I've been that guy." You know what I mean? I'm not proud to say that I was that guy, but I'm like, I get it. Like,
It
I
happened.
understand. Yeah, when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And hey, shit, I get made fun of too, all the time, incessantly. So yeah, it was kind of a bit of an eye opener for me, and I was like, well, thank you for kind of accepting me into the fold, because I'm very clearly the outsider in this group. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, thank you so much for not treating me any differently as well. You just kind of accepted me in, and I was a little, I don't know, I'm a German Austrian guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm hard headed, and I'm a little stubborn. I show up late, and they never treated me any differently. They never, in no way, shape, and form was it ever like a big deal. They just always kind of like, "Hey, welcome in, get comfy," that sort of thing. And then
You fit right in.
that's it, like like a dirty old shoe or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Now,
that, and then fast forward, football kind of came to an end, a lot of injuries and stuff.
right.
And I went to my co-op counselor and I was like, listen, like, I've done this, I've done that, I've tried this, I've tried that. I'm like, I can't stand any of this. Like, this is awful. And her colleague kind of peeked her head around the cubicle and she was like, why don't you try being a stuntman? And I was like, you're
Mm,
a fucking genius. I'm like, I never
mm.
even thought about that. I'm like, my entire life has sort of been like this high octane thing, and I never wanted to be bored. I always wanted to do this exciting shit, right? So I was like, you know what? You are a genius. I'm like, where do I start with this? And she goes, go see the drama teacher here, and she'll kind of like at least usher you into the right direction,
Yep.
right? And I was like, okay, cool, let's do that. So I immediately get up, go over to the drama, knock on the door. Her name's Debbie Raposo, sweetheart. She kind of bo peeped me into into this world. You know
Nice.
what I mean? So
Nice.
she opened the door, and I was like, "Hey, how's it going? I want to be a stuntman." And she's like, "Well, okay, step into the class and let's have a chat." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I go into the class, and she's like, "Listen, we got a school play going on. Why don't you audition for it?" And I was like, "No, no, no, acting's for losers. I don't want to do that. I want to do a stuntman thing." And she's like, "Acting's not for losers, idiot. Go audition and see if you like it." And I was like, "All right." So reluctantly, I go down there. I audition. It was for this. It was this thing that we have. I don't know if we still have it or not, but at the time we still had it. It was called the Sears Festival, and it was like a one-act play. I auditioned. I landed the lead. I was like, "Come on!"
Wow.
And I ended up just sort of like I ended up helping build the set, and with wardrobe, and again, I just kind of, and again, it was like this experience where they kind of just accepted me in very clearly, being a bit of an outsider in this particular group. They were like, "Hey, okay, perfect, yeah, yeah, and help, and sure, yeah, and that's a great idea." There was a lot of that, and it was just. Then I ended up with a co-op at a community theater, is one of the oldest community theaters in North America, I believe. And it was the same kind of a thing. They just, they sort of accept you in and make you feel
You
like family.
That was a calling for you right there, Dennis. I'm not gonna lie
Sort,
to you,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
You
I
was,
sort of tripped and fell.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you did your thing. That's what I'm talking about. You started in school, said you want to be a stunt man, looked at the actors like, nah, homie, I'm not doing this mess. And you just jump right in and look at where you at today, man. Now, you kind of mentioned it because you spoke about Miss Debbie. My next question was, did you have any mentors to help you out in your career from the beginning all the way up to now?
I mean,
It don't have to just be
uh,
in the industry. It could be.
yeah, yeah. Man, I think there's a lot of people that played mentors, and like I don't even know if I could give a shout out to all the different people that were mentors. I had
There's a lot.
good friends. Yeah, I had good friends. I had a teacher. Whether like my parents were kind of, I don't want to say they were resistant. I don't know if that's entirely fair or accurate to say, but I mean, I have the European, like old school European parents. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to be an actor, they're like, yeah, okay. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It was what did my dad had he's like, Dennis, he was Austrian, so it was like growing up with like Schwarzenegger as a dad. Yeah, I'm not joking. In my house, it wasn't get to the chop house, get to the table, eat your fucking carrots. You know what I mean? Yeah. So my dad had this kind of like, Dennis, you got to get your head out of the sand thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep. Yep.
wake up, smell the roses sort of thing. And my mom was always just like, well, are you going to have the benefits? And I was like, well, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah. So it was a lot of, and I'm sure a lot of people, especially immigrants, they can kind of relate to this. Like, you gotta, put foot to ass essentially for like your entire life, right?
Yep.
Um, so it was. I
Well,
have,
family and
I
friends would
have
look like.
different. Yeah, I have different pockets of my life where different people played very integral roles in my life and in my career.
I like that.
I mean, if you have like this like bowling alley like laneway with these like soft bumpers just kind of guiding you to the
Yep.
pin sort of thing, and that was like every few years it was like somebody would step in. A great example,
Love that.
I worked with an actor. This was a few years back on a film that I shot, and he was like, "Do you have a family?" And I was like, "Well, no, not yet. I want to get to the XYZ point in my career." Da da da. And he was like, "Stop." He's like, "Just start. If you can, just start. Like that point that you're looking for in your career. You're never gonna find that point. It'll
Thank
always be another thing. Yeah, it'll
thank you.
always be another, like that goalpost always moves. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And the
Yes.
more ambitious you are, the sooner you realize you'll never attain that that goal ever. That
It's like
goalpost is
multiple
constantly shifting.
doors. It's like
Yeah,
multiple doors you just keep opening and walking through.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I'm talking about. Now, Dennis, here's
exactly.
here's one door that you walked through that I do want to talk about real quick. So what was it like, man? You did this, and a lot of people caught eyes on you on this. Ian Matthews, Working Moms.
Yeah.
Man, what was it like to receive that role? How excited were you to receive it?
I mean, if we're being completely honest and fair, that was kind of the role that changed the trajectory in the biggest way the first time for me. It was huge. I the casting process took a few months.
Mhm.
So when I went in for my initial audition, I didn't hear back for a while. So, and usually what that means in actor world is you didn't fucking get it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Move on, that sort of thing. And I did my best to kind of, especially like when you're at that stage in your career, um, you kind of you dwell on these things quite a bit. You spend a lot of time thinking about, um, did I get it? Did I not get it? What could I have done differently? Bup, 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 bup. Like you spend so much time rolling this stuff around in your dome, right? And so I auditioned, and I didn't hear back for a little while, and then I was shooting a commercial for something else, and I got a call from my manager, and she goes, "Hey, listen, that show Working Moms, they want you to come back for a callback." And then instantly I was like, well, okay, yeah, absolutely. When? And she's like, dates to be determined, but it looks like at least you've like been narrowed down to a select few. So now I'm like buzzing. I'm on like cloud nine, right? But it like even the callback audition took, I think it was like upwards of a month or more. So yeah, so you're like you hear you have a callback, and then you're just sitting there, you know what I mean? Sweaty palms for like over a month. You're kind of like, what the? So then I guess they had ironed out whatever wrinkles it is that they needed to iron out, and they were like, "Okay, great, we're doing callbacks now." And I was just elated at the fact that I was still going in for a callback because, like, over a month when you're in those shoes, or like any part or job, I think for anybody, a month is a long time to sort of be like,
Yeah.
well, when is it? Have you heard that? You know, that sort of thing. So it was like you got the day for the callback, and I had a ton of time to kind of build this up now at this point, right?
Oh,
So, I went in, I auditioned, I did my callback, and then you get out, and you're like, it's sort of like you have like you walk in, and then you walk out, and you're like, what just happened? And you just praying. You said all the right things, and you didn't put your foot in your mouth, and you kind of hit your points, and so on and so forth, right? And
yes.
yeah, and then a couple of weeks later, I got a call from my manager, and she's like, "Hey, listen, I need you to swing by the office." And I was like, "Okay, no problem." I walk in, and she goes, so I got a call from the team." And I was like, fuck. And she's like, "Yeah, you got the part." I was like, "You fucker, you fucker." Yeah, she played me so hard.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it was wild. And yeah, it was surreal. had an absolutely fantastic time.
Wow.
The team was really, really great. Season one was like, yeah, it was surreal, man. It was, you know, it was that first huge milestone in my life. And I was lucky enough to play a character that I really enjoyed. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's not like
Yes.
there's a lot of times, especially doing what we do,
Yes.
it's like the characters that we don't necessarily enjoy, or the you know the scripts that we don't necessarily love, or they are bread and butter. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Especially, I'm speaking on. I can confidently say I'm speaking on the behalf of a lot of Canadian actors. I'm sure a lot of American actors as well. But a lot of Canadian actors, it's like, you know, it's not necessarily that we love this XYZ character or script, but you know, we got mouths to feed, and you know, we got lights to keep on. So
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
bite bullets, you do what you got to do, right?
That's what I'm talking about. Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen watching worldwide, make sure if you haven't, make sure you go on Netflix. Check out Working Moms. Not right now because you're watching this interview. After this
Exactly.
interview, make sure you go to Netflix. Check out Working Moms. You want to make sure you see what Ian is doing on the show. That's right. I call him Ian, not Dennis right now. We're talking about Ian right now. So make sure you check them out. See how the shows goes. If you have not seen it, sit down, relax, watch it. How many seasons is out right now, Dennis?
I think it was 7 seasons out, but
Seven
the
seasons.
first four will be your favorite because those are the ones Ian's in.
That's what I'm talking about. Check out season 1 through 4. If you want to watch 5 through 7, okay. 1 through 4 is the one you want to do. Make sure you check it out. Go tell your friends, your families, your associates, tell your haters, tell them all to sit down and watch this show. If you're a mother that's watching this show right now and you work, guess what? You can relate because you're a working mom. You see what I just did right there? I just
I like
twisted it in.
that.
Working moms, Netflix. Make sure you check it out. Now, we're not going to go through your whole resume, Dennis, because we'll be here for about 3 months straight doing this show right here. So let's talk about what's coming out now that you're doing. Man, Lord Paris.
Lord Paris,
Lord
yeah.
Paris. Juliet and Romeo. Tell us how you felt to find out about this movie. How did you audition for it? And how excited were you to receive the role as Lord Paris?
Uh, well, first and foremost, I was told that Juliet and Romeo was going to be, at the time it was called Verona. Juliet and Romeo, or Verona at the time, was going to be the most famous love story that we know, but a musical version of it.
Mhm.
And instantly I was like, hang on. Like, we got William Shakespeare, and you're gonna turn that into a musical? And they were like, "Yep, that's what we're doing." I was like, "Well, I got to hear more of this. This is gonna be a story for the ages, right?" So I sat down with Tim Bogart, who's the writer director of Juliet and Romeo. It took like minutes. Like, his passion in telling this story in this manner, and like this reimagination of Juliet and Romeo, or Romeo and Juliet,
Mhm.
in musical format, and like, you could, the way that he would explain it to you, you could almost see it like play out in front of you. And when you watch the film, it almost has this like this dreamlike essence. It's vibrant, it's very beautiful, it's grand, you know what I mean? It he very much lived up to the hype that he kind of like presented to me. The audition process, it was similar in a sense that like it took a little while longer for everything, like all these like cogs to fall into place. It was a very, you know, it was a very large adventure in a sense that like it was shot in Italy for 3 months, and You know what I mean? There's a lot of wheels moving, a lot of logistics. I mean, the sets were unbelievable. Dante Ferretti, who also did like, Edward
Of
Scissorhands and so on
course.
and so forth. Yeah, he created this unbelievable set for us. And then, you've got Luciano who made these he made this, like, especially for actors, and I can very confidently say that I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of actors right now. There's a lot, like, when you put on a wardrobe that you've kind of like you've spoken with the costume designers and the seamstress here and this that, and you kind of put everything together, and the director's like, I like this, I don't like this, what are your thoughts on that, da, 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 and then the hair and so on and so forth. By the time all these things come together, and then they sort of set you loose in Italy, and you've got Byron Werner, who's the DOP, and you've got Tim working together, and you see these, like, just these beautiful vibrant colors in these historic castles. It was almost, it was surreal in a sense that, like, you sit down with Tim and he kind of explains these ideas and the way that he wants it to look and the beautiful music that would play, and you get there and you're like, this is almost to a T what I envisioned. Like, he just explained it so well, and a huge pull for me was just like the passion that he went into it with.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, and then we had a discussion about Paris and sort of the idea that he had for Paris and how he's been played in the past and how he's kind of looking at having Paris played this time around. We lined up very quickly. We, for lack of a better phrase, agreed on almost everything instantly.
Mm.
And yeah, it sort of felt like a match made in heaven. And I mean, who doesn't want to be set loose in Italy in these beautiful castles,
Yes.
with these wonderful wardrobes and this whole new world that you get to play around in, right?
And see, I'm glad you said that, Dennis, because when you just said a whole new world, because I can just picture being on set and you're seeing this stuff surrounded, but you have to remember there's cameras in front of you. You can't stay in awe for a whole long time. You got to be in
Yeah,
awe before the camera start rolling because you can feel like you're in that world. And
yeah,
with the other people, the actors and actresses that are with you, that's just as professional as you are. And all
yeah.
of you guys that feel like you left the planet Earth or you went in a time machine and went
It was
back
wild.
and brought
Yeah,
it. That's what I'm talking about. Now,
yeah, it
ladies
was
and
wild, man.
gentlemen that's watching worldwide, if you haven't, go to YouTube. I'm not even sure that's supposed to be announced or not, but guess what? Anybody get mad at me. Go to YouTube, find the trailer. The
Yeah,
trailer of this movie will tell you what you're about to watch. And
yeah.
this drops in June, correct?
So we have the North American premiere is going to be May 9th, which I believe is Mother's Day weekend. And
Okay.
then the UK premiere was going to be June 11th, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
So yeah, a little bit of a gap between, but it just builds more tension.
Nice, nice. Go check out the trailer. You'll see what
Yeah.
Dennis is talking about. He's not exaggerating. I've seen it, and
Hmm.
I was like, I've been in a couple of indie movies myself. I wanted to be in that Juliet and Romeo. I wanted to act in that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would act a pure T fool. Maybe it was good they didn't put it on. I'm not gonna lie to you. Check out the trailer, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that you want to see. I'm guarantee you, you want to bring your family to this also. Even if you're
Yeah,
not a big Shakespeare person, how this movie goes and the vibe that's with it, trust me,
yeah,
you're going to see this version. You definitely will.
yeah.
Now,
It's a
Dennis,
lot
like
of
I
fun.
said, you've done a lot in your career. I could keep naming more stuff that you've done, but I know we don't have that much time left. But I want to say once again, congratulations to everything that you have done.
Appreciate it,
Now,
man.
are there any other projects that you're working on that you want the world to know about?
Ooh, I'm so I guess during the strike, I'm sure you're well aware of the strike.
Yes.
The blast radius of the strike, I guess, was so big that for quite a while we were still sort of weeding through the fodder of it all, right? So in that time, I had a lot of time to sort of think about, you know, my future and kind of how I'm not getting any younger, you know what I mean? So
Right.
so I was like, you know what, how do I want to proceed? Because it was hard, when you're, and again, I'm speaking on behalf of a lot of different actors when I say this. It's hard when you're not getting any younger, and then you get COVID. You know, and you're watching your career and you're starting to get busier and you're starting this and you're starting that. And then COVID rolls around, shuts everything down. And you're like, wild. All right, cool. What do I do with this? So you just and the same as everybody else, you hope for that, you know, a flattened curve, or you hope for, you know, back to work under XYZ circumstances. You know what I mean? And then it's like you're starting to feel and taste work starting to level off a little bit, and then it's like a writer actor strike, and you're like, how can I feel a little more in control of my own future, of my own career? You know what I mean? How can I confidently sort of move forward? How do I feel a little less like I'm just relying on somebody else to dictate how my career goes? So I had I had my own little pity party and shit. It was fun. And then I heard I think it was Brett Goldstein said, not to me specifically, I think he just said it's to the masses, but I think Brett Goldstein said if you're complaining about shitty scripts, you better also be writing.
Mm.
Yeah, it was some
Mm.
heavy weight, man. Yeah, I know. This guy is dropping some knowledge, and I was like, this guy is so right. I'm sitting here stomping my feet like a kid, and I was like, yeah, okay. I see what's happening here. And it was just little bits were kind of dropped in front of me, and I was sort of picking them up, and I was like, all right, I see what I'm not doing well here, and what I need to be fine tuning and changing and adjusting the frequency, if you will. Um, so I had this idea. I had this idea for a story, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna start writing.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was.
Nice.
I encourage everybody. Like I've just heard this recently, and it's like 99% of the population of the world should be writing daily.
That's true. That's true.
That it's yeah. It's not just creators. It's not just this. It's not just. It's like just. And to be completely honest, it was probably the best I'd ever felt in my entire career. Is kind of starting putting foot to ass for my own, for my own storytelling abilities and so on and so forth, right? And
That's
it's what I started. Yeah, what I started to realize was I think I think I had a lot more to say than I realized. And so you have I've had plenty of like inner arguments with myself about existentialism, right and wrong, morality, like all sorts of
yes.
different things.
Yes.
And you're inspired by so many people who've done it before you,
That,
William Shakespeare, you know what I mean, that sort of thing. And I was like, you know what? Okay, there's an idea that I had for a story. I'm gonna give this a shot and see where it takes me. And it wasn't easy. I kind of you back yourself into plenty of corners when you're writing certain stories. But
yes.
I'm like I'm finishing this. Period. End of story.
Wow.
When I was done,
Nice.
I had a feature length script, and I was like, this is a lot of fun. Let me see where I can take this. So my producing partner and I ended up sitting down. I put together a proof of concept, pitch deck. I got a
Okay.
full length feature. I got a feature length script right now, and we're sort of like kind of inching our way into pre-production of that now. So I'm working on my directorial debut, my first script I've
That's
written, and yeah. So it's kind of it's taking matters into your
nice.
own hands. Stop bitching and do something about it. Long
That's what I'm
story short.
talking about.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yes, Dennis. That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Ladies and gentlemen watching worldwide, you better keep up with Dennis because you don't know when this film will come from paper to in front of your eyes. Oh,
Yeah,
make sure
it's
you
gonna be a
keep
lot
up
of
with
fun.
them. Yes. Now, Dennis, how can everybody keep up with you on social media so they can keep up with the latest and greatest of what you're doing?
So I have to confess, social media is definitely not my strong suit. I am working on. I'm working very diligently at getting a little bit better at it. Fortunately, that time is now, and I'm getting better at it. That being said, the best place to kind of follow my career at this particular junction is probably on Instagram, which Dennis CR Andres. You can follow me there. I will. I will work hard at trying to hit a couple of other different platforms just to help everybody else out. So I know that some people look for, their answers and their stuff on other platforms as well. But bear with me, be patient with me, one thing at a time.
Ladies and gentlemen, follow him on Instagram. You can say, hey, Dennis, I followed you from the beginning, homie. That's right. I followed you when he was only on one platform, Instagram. Make sure you follow him. You never know. He may speak about his feature film that's coming up. You never know what he's going to do. Make sure you follow him. Tell all your friends to follow him also. So you want to keep up with him? That's how you do it. Now, Dennis, this is the last segment of the show that you can't stand. And we're going to do it. That's right. It's called Take the Floor. You have up to 2 minutes to say whatever you want. No questions asked. Dennis Andreas, take the floor.
2 minutes to say whatever it is that I want.
Up to 2 minutes. It don't even have to be 2 minutes.
You know what? I'm ill prepared for this, but I read a quote today. It was something to the effect of, I'm going to butcher it, but be patient with me. I don't want to live in a world where people are not kind to one another. So do me a favor, do Coop a favor, do yourself a favor. We live in a very tumultuous time. There's a lot of angry people out there. There's a lot of division. I think take a deep breath. We're all in this together. Be kind to one another. Don't forget to pay it forward. Don't forget to look out for your neighbor.
Enough said. Enough said. You heard it. Because these are trying times right now. You never know what the next person's going to do, even when you walk out the door. So that's what I'm saying. Dennis, I want to thank you for coming on the show. And
Cool, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, yes. I would love to have you back on in the future.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope we get to do this sooner rather than later, pal.
That's what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest on the Big Scoop with Coop is... You know I don't announce my next guest. You better follow me on social media at Big Scoop with Coop and at thebigscoopwithcoop.com on the website to catch the latest and greatest. Make sure you follow Dennis on Instagram. Check out Juliet and Romeo. Remember, seasons 1 through 4 only. 1 through 4 only. Working Moms is going to kill me for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Watch 1 through 7, but 1 through 4. 1 through 4. Make sure you check it out. Check out everything he's doing. And make sure you follow him because you never know what's going to happen. Until the next time, people, on the Big Scoop with Coop. Peace.